الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونسترشده ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين من ربه صل اللهم عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the sustainer and the cherisher. We bear witnesses that there is no deity worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we bear witnesses that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last and the final of the prophets and the messengers of Allah. He alayhi salatu wasalam conveyed the message. And he alayhi salatu wasalam set the example for the believers to follow. And he alayhi salatu wasalam performed the ibadah. And he performed the jihad until the time of certainty had come. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with his wives and his families. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with his companions, those who supported him in his lifetime. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with those who follow their footpath and footstep. تابعين وتابع التابعين إلى يوم القيامة. Generation after generation until the day of judgment. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala include us among them with his grace and mercy. Ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, أوصيكم ونفسي الأمارة بالسوء بتقوى الله سبحانه وتعالى. I bring this advice first to myself, my brothers and sisters, to have taqwa in the heart as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Quran. In many different parts of the Quran, He's calling upon us with a beautiful title that says, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, oh you have believed. Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, taqullaha wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighadin wa taqullah, inna Allah khabirun bima ta'malun. Oh you have believed, have taqwa in your hearts, and let every soul prepare for what is coming tomorrow. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats again this command, and have taqwa. Lo, Allah is most knowing and acquainted of what you do. The companions radiallahu anhum, listening to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, teaching them parts of the Quran, small portions at a time, that they take this Quran, memorize it, and they go apply it, and they work with it, and if it tells them to do well in trade and business, then they do well in trade and business. If it tells them to do good in your relationship and family relationship, then they do that. If it tells them that they have to be peaceful with the neighbors, then they do that. Then they come to the Prophet ﷺ asking for more. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the believers straightforward and direct. Like one of the tabi'een was saying to his student, إذا سمعت قول الله سبحانه وتعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا فأصغِ السمع فإن ما بعدها إما أمر يؤتمر به أو نهي ينتهى عنه. When you hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, oh you have believed, then listen carefully that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you either a command for you to do, it's a must, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is prohibiting you from doing something, so you're afraid and you don't do. It's not clear? I was saying that subhanAllah, mashallah, this sounds better. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the believers something in the Quran, the believers take this Quran and apply it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in one verse that Allah knows what you say, what you conceal in your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this in many parts of the Quran. But one time the companions came to the Prophet ﷺ and said to him, O Prophet of Allah, you have told us about a verse in the Quran that if we have complied with everything in the Quran before, this is hard to comply with. And the Prophet ﷺ was surprised at the question. Allah tells you always what you can do. Simple. What is it that they told him, O Prophet of Allah, you're telling us, لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله. To Allah belongs what's in heaven and what's in earth. Whether you conceal what you have in your heart, or you show it and you propagate it, or you speak it out, Allah knows it and Allah will hold you responsible for it. And so they complained to the Prophet ﷺ. They said, O Prophet of Allah, we feel that we are in a tight corner. We cannot be responsible for thoughts that come to the mind. Maybe if we do an action with the hand and hurt somebody or push somebody or kill somebody, we are responsible. We can understand. But a thought that comes to the mind is very hard to control. And so the Prophet ﷺ spoke to them and he said to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. Allah will not put a burden upon a soul. Will not put any burden upon any soul except what can bear. For that soul is what is positive, what is in their record, is what it had done of good. And what's against it is what it had done of evil and wrong. We find that, my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Quran, simple, logic, and practical. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, if you find anything difficult for you to comprehend, to do, to practice, look at the lives of the prophets and the messengers, and look at the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَلَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ. Indeed, in the life of Prophet Muhammad, there was for you a good and excellent example and parable for those who seek Allah and the pleasure in the hereafter. That's what we need, my brothers and sisters. We need pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need the success in this life and in the hereafter, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, you follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Quran in Surah Al-Imran on behalf of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. Say to them, O Muhammad, if you love Allah, your Lord, follow me as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Allah will love you back and will forgive your sins and shortcomings. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we will inshallah get the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us in this life and in the hereafter. Where we find, my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us following Muhammad is simple and easy. Where the Prophet ﷺ was giving instructions to the companions, to the believers. And what is it that's so difficult in Islam? Even when they came complaining to the Prophet ﷺ about things that thoughts in the mind or things that concealed in the heart, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained to them in the Quran, same, simple. We find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, you pray the 5 times a day, you fast the month of Ramadan, you pay your dues of zakat, and if you are capable and your road is safe, you make Hajj once in a lifetime. This is the obligatory. You do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will consider you successful. We find, my brothers and sisters, that we tend and we want to do extras and more. So the Prophet ﷺ gives us the example of praying before the Fard prayer and praying after the Fard prayer is the nafila, sunnah. Then Prophet ﷺ prays late at night, the tahajjud, and makes it for us sunnah, not obligatory, but for those who want to do extra, they want to do more. And we find in everything obligatory, all the Muslims are supposed to do it and required to do. But some of the Muslims do more. You read the Quran. Some of the Muslims used to the time of the Prophet ﷺ finish the Quran once in a day and once in every 2-3 days, and they repeat again the Quran, the whole Quran, right? We find the Prophet ﷺ is giving instructions to the Muslims. Read the Quran is sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Read the Quran is rewarding by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Read the Quran, it will bring you comfort in this life, it will bring you rizq, it will bring you knowledge, it will bring you the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you cannot do reading the Quran through the 3 days, the Prophet ﷺ said a very simple rule. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you finish the Quran once a month. We see ourselves barely trying to do it in Ramadan. But it was for the other Muslims before us, generations, that they used to read the Quran once a week or once a month is a very, very normal thing. And the majority of Muslims do that. And so the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that the obligatory is simple and there is room for you to do more. Even for fasting, the month of Ramadan is 29 to 30 days, obligatory. And it's alhamdulillah simple. So those who are sick, they cannot finish fasting for 1 day or 2 or 3. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that there's a room for them to break fast and repeat that they make it up. But we find that the Prophet ﷺ has given us example that he fasts in many other days of the year other than Ramadan. So we follow him too. And we say we fast nafila, we fast sunnah, like the Monday and Thursday of every week, like the 3 days of every lunar calendar month, like fasting the day of Ashura, the fasting of the day of Arafah, fasting. Many days of the year the Prophet ﷺ set them for us. And that's why he set the example for us to follow him. And even when it comes to zakat and charity, we find the Prophet ﷺ set the example for the believers that Aisha radiallahu anha says about him. When you say, and just a couple of days ago somebody was asking me what's the word nisab? Nisab, what does it mean? Nisab means zakat limit. If you have below the nisab, you're not responsible, you're not required to pay the zakat. And what is the zakat that we're talking about is not the zakat al-fitr for Ramadan. Zakat al-fitr for Ramadan for every capable family, not nisab. Nisab means something that you save for a whole year and it has to reach a certain amount of wealth, yani money or gold. And some people compare it to 3 grams or 3 ounces of gold. And I don't know, it comes to like 1,500 to 2,000, something like this. I don't know the numbers. But if you have that much and you say, I want to pay zakat, you come after 12 months, the zakat is only 2.5%. If it is $100, then it's $2.50 that you pay it for. If it is $1,000 that you're saving, it's only $25. If you're saving $10,000, it's only $250. So it's not going to break your back at all. The Prophet ﷺ was giving us the example not to go by this limit and feel that you are safe with Allah. We make many mistakes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said for us beautiful examples that when people make mistakes and make sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, give charity to wipe out this sin. Free a slave, believer slave, Muslim, so to wipe out this sin. And we find this written in the Quran and we find the practice by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that the obligatory is simple and those who have money, they can afford it It's not going to break their back. But what is even better than that is that the Prophet ﷺ tells us that you pay more than you feel the return from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming back to you. You feel the gift coming back to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we look at believers and the Prophet ﷺ himself, when Aisha radiallahu anha said about him, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أجود من الريح المرسلة. Jawad عليه الصلاة والسلام, that he was always giving. And she says that he was even more giving than the wind that brings you good clouds and the wind that brings you the good crops, pollen and so forth, right? Brothers, can you please move closer to me forward so the brothers will come, inshallah, they can find a place to sit. And we find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us about the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is an excellent character. And Aisha radiallahu anha says that he was Jawad wa ajwadu ma yakunu fi Ramadan. The most that he was giving and helping and giving charities is in Ramadan. Can you imagine, brothers and sisters, if you have wealth that you can see it and the Muslimin and the people can see it? That happened to the Prophet ﷺ, that he has at that time flocks of sheep and animals. This is wealth. And one of the heads of tribes, non-Muslim tribes from outside Medina, comes to the Prophet ﷺ and he says to him, Ya Muhammad, آتني من مال الله, أعطني من مال الله سبحانه وتعالى. Give me from the wealth that Allah has given you. And the Prophet ﷺ says to him, what do you like from these sheep? You like them all? The man said, you give me that? The Prophet ﷺ said, take it. Imagine, brothers and sisters, if you have wealth in front of you, and somebody says, give me some, and you can take the whole thing, and you are happy and satisfied, what is it going to do to the other person's account? He went back to his tribe, and he said to them, you go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you pledge your allegiance to him in Islam. أتيتكم من رجل ينفق لا يخشى الفقر أبدا. That I came from a man who spends, he worries nothing about poverty after he spends. He gave the whole thing to this man, and the man brought him the whole tribe who became Muslimin. But the Prophet ﷺ was broke after that. The Prophet ﷺ was replaced for him again and again and again. And so, my brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that if you believers share and give one another, Allah will bring the love from one another to you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replace and give you back what you have spent. Even if you look at the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about sadaqah and charity, the Prophet ﷺ says you give your sadaqah to those who are closer to you in family and closer to you in neighborhood. And you look at this and you say, subhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ is telling me, if I want to give $100 of charity, sadaqah, and I see that there is a relative of mine, and I see that there is another poor person or family, the Prophet ﷺ says priority is to the relative. And imagine, my brothers and sisters, that sometimes the relative, close relative, is not in good terms with the person, rather than a stranger who doesn't know my shortcomings and my mistakes and my uyub. And so when I want to spend money, I'll give it to a stranger and says, he doesn't know how much rich I am, I'll give him $10, $15, but my relative, he knows who I am and he speaks bad about me. And imagine, subhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ says, وَأَن تُعْفِي مَنْ الْأَقْرَبُونَ وَأَن تَصِلْ صِلَةُ رَحِمٍ مَنْ قَطَعَ, that you connect with those who interrupt their relationship with you from your relatives. The Prophet ﷺ saying that. And imagine if you spend to this relative and give the relative, and the relative goes away from you. Do you think he's going to say anything negative about you after you give it from your zakat and salah? He's going to say all positive things. And when people see him, they're not going to say that this is the nephew or this is the uncle of Mr. So-and-so or the imam or this. They're going to say, look at him. He is also wearing something nice. He is eating good food. He is reasonable. Alhamdulillah, that looks like that this rich man is helping. See how it brings back to you something good. And that's why, my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that we should look after one another and help one another and share with one another. And the result will come back to us, inshallah. I want to tell you a beautiful story about the fruits of the taqwa, the fruits of zuhd, the dunya that you give for the sake of Allah. Imagine how much Allah will give you back. Maybe you mentioned this story here before, but it is really worth it to listen to it again because it is a story of one of the tabi'een, and his name was Hatim al-Asam. When Hatim al-Asam was thinking about Hajj, but he was, what we say, zahidun fi dunya, means that he does not go after the material life and ignoring his worship and his relationships. And so he's not a gold digger. He was thinking of Hajj and he was thinking of his short hand. He does not have money. But he already mentioned it to his family a couple of times, and he was searching and looking at who is going to Hajj and how much it costs and so forth. And then once his daughter found him, she found him crying. She said, "Ma yukika ya abada? What is making you crying, my father?" He said to her, "I wanted to go to Hajj." She said, "Why don't you go? Wa ma yukik? What is holding you?" He said to her, "An-nafaqa is the provision, the money I have to spend." She said, "Sayyubnik Allah. Just put the intention and Allah will provide for you. I'm not worried about you." He said to her, "Bal nafaqatukum. And your provision to leave for me, to leave for your security, for our family, you and your mother and brothers and sisters." She said to him, "Sayyubnik Allah. Allah will give us. I'm not worried about us either." He said to her, "But al-amru yarji'u ila ummiki. This decision comes to your mother. You're too young to say a decision on behalf of the family." She went and spoke to her mom, to her brothers and sisters. She said to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not desert us. When our father goes to Hajj, we support him and help him. Finally, they got the message and they let him go, and they said to him, "Us, you go." What he left behind for them is a provision for maybe 3 days of food to eat. Not too much. And for him, he does not have money to give to the leader of the caravan so they can have him share the food and the tents and, when you travel. So they told him, because you're not spending, you stay way behind the caravan. And as soon as the caravan started traveling, maybe very short period, they say, of time that they started traveling, the head of that caravan was stung by a scorpion or snake or poisonous. So out of town, they don't have medicine, they don't have anybody to run after. They said, if anybody can help us, it must be somebody who is a noble person, who knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the right way, who reads Quran, make ruqyah. And they started looking at who with us in this caravan who can do that. They said the best person is Hatim al-Asam. He is way outside from the group of the caravan. Go call him. So they went and called him. He came and he read Quran, he made dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave shifa to that man immediately. The man said to Hatim, "Nafaqatuka dhihaban wa 'awdatan alayk." Your money, your food, your residence, sleep is on me, going and coming back. So he said thank you to the leader of the caravan, and he made dua for him, for giving him this gift. And then he turned to Allah and said, "Ya Allah, you have shown me that you made it easy for me to travel and come back for free, that you have already provided for me. Show me, Ya Allah, what you can provide for my family I left behind, that they are poor, they don't have money. In a few days, their door was knocking. And they were looking at each other, and before that, they were blaming the sister, why did you leave? Let our father go, you are the one who convinced us, you are the one who's to blame. And that day they heard the door knocking, and they said, who is it? We are so poor family, nobody's gonna come and ask for anything. If we even ask for food, we don't have no food to give. They found somebody saying to them that the governor, al-Hakim of Medina, was in a hunting trip for a few days. And with him was the dignitaries and ministries and rich, wealthy people. Please, brothers, come forward again, please, because it's become a little bit too crowded in the back there. Come, Jazakallah khair, say can help, inshallah. And with this, my brothers and sisters, this governor, with all the rich people with him traveling, they did not find no water to drink, except this house was way in the outside of the city. And they said, we just want some water for the governor. And the mother on that house was pouring the water in a small container from al-Qirba, which is something to keep the water cold. And she was saying, Ya Allah, we have no food, we have not eaten for 3 or 4 days, and now we are giving water to the richest man and his richest people with him in the company of the town. How ironic this is, she was thinking, right? They sent the water to him. The governor drank the water, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it taste to him even better than what it is. And he said, oh, this is so cold and nice and tastes good. I want to reward the man of this house. They said to him that he is in Hajj. He said, I'm going to give something to the family. So he took out his belt, what's the mintaqa or niqab. And the belt of the governor, my brothers and sisters, is not just any belt that when you go to Hajj, they give you these belts that have pockets. But the belt for the governor, it's even murassa, they say. Murassa means it has gems and jewels on it. Besides that, it has money in it, in the pockets. And he took it and he threw it on the ground and he said, whoever in my company likes what I have done for the city as a good governor to you, then do what I have done. Give the gift, charity, and give to these people. And they started taking out wallets and money and putting their belts and things like this. And one rich man said to the governor, Your Highness, I would like to buy your belt back and everybody else's. And I will give them money of gold. That's enough for them for a lifetime, for the whole family. Imagine, subhanAllah, a couple hours ago, no food. So broke. And now they have food for a lifetime, or money. That's enough for them for a lifetime. They looked at their sister, this is the family, and this young daughter started crying. And they said to her, yesterday when we were crying hungry, you were smiling and laughing and you're telling us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always with us. How come today you're crying when we have all this money? It's enough. She said to them, if a man like this one looked at us with a kind eye, kind look, and he gave us provision that's enough for a lifetime, how about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he looks at us with an eye of kindness, how much will we have? أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Seek forgiveness and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgiveness for yourselves and for the believers. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear brothers and sisters, we are in the month of Barakah, the blessed month of Ramadan, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us that when you do something good, I'll give you return. and more than what you spend, and more what you have given, and more what you have provided, and more. If you do it in Ramadan, if it is 10 times, starting at 10 times in the other days than Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will give you starting at 70 times, inshallah, I give you more. My brothers and sisters, I'd like you to take advantage of the month of Ramadan and share what we have of comfort, inshallah, in this our community here. And this community has been always generous, alhamdulillah. Share to help a Muslim family start their fast, even though they started their fast about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. But we already, alhamdulillah, sent money to help the Muslim families fast their month of Ramadan without having to worry about how are they going to break their fast tonight or tomorrow. Wallahi, some of your brothers and sisters, and this is not new to you, they continue fasting because they don't have no food. One of our representatives in Jordan coming into a refugee camp, and he was carrying bread. Bread, only dry bread. No meat, no vegetables, no food yet. Bread that they saw his, and the children of that camp came running and circled around him. They have not tasted bread for days. And you already know that Muslims eat from the grass, from the ground, they eat from the garbage that people throw away. What if my brothers and sisters help a Muslim family to eat something decent in this Ramadan? And when it comes to worrying about fasting tomorrow, they will start easy because they do have. And what is costing us, my brothers and sisters? If we pay $150, we can sponsor a whole family of 7 people. And the Prophet ﷺ says to us that if you help a Muslim to break his fast, Allah will give you the reward for your fast and the other Muslim's fast without him or her losing any part of that reward. So if we help a family of 7, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us for every day, you have 7 more days of reward for you. How many that you get, inshallah, in Ramadan? After we finish Jum'ah, jazakumullah khair, I'd like you, Allah, to do your best and spend like the Prophet ﷺ is doing in every Ramadan. He gives everything he has, and before Ramadan is over, before the Eid is over, the Prophet ﷺ is getting back these provisions. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم اهدنا من أمرنا رشدا اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار اللهم فرج علينا وعلى إخواننا المكروبين في كل مكان وفرج علينا وعلى إخواننا اللاجئين في كل مكان اللهم من أراد الإسلام والمسلمين خيرا فوفقه إلى كل خير ومن أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين شرا فخذه أخذ عزيز مقتدر إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر.